A desperate Ohio couple pleads with a 911 operator
911, what's going on there?
for police help.
Well, me and my friend, we've been having some issues with somebody stalking us and menacing us.
But the very person threatening their life
Hey, what's going on right now?
Well, basically, he's armed and dangerous, and he's sitting out in front of the house.
is the same one sworn to protect them.
What's his name?
I believe it's Eric.
Is her boyfriend the Akron cop?
Yeah. How do you know?
Trust, safety, security, basic needs that young single mom Alexis Duquesne was lacking in her life.
I don't think Miss Duquesne had the best childhood and upbringing. I think as a result of some of her experiences, she had a post-traumatic stress disorder and some mental health issues that she was dealing with.
Then, at the age of 27, she decided to take control of her destiny, enrolling at the University of Akron, Ohio, to study, of all things, criminal justice.
During your studies at the university, you met a professor,
I did.
Eric Paull.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about him as a person.
He seemed like a very intelligent, great guy, a good teacher. I enjoyed the class.
Someone that you trusted.
Yes.
In addition to being an adjunct professor at the university, he was a decorated police sergeant with 20 years of stellar service.
He was very celebrated. He did a lot of work for the department. They depended on him for grant writing. And from outside looking in, he's what any police department would want.
And after a while, he was what Alexis thought she wanted too. Of course, at the time, he was her professor and a married man. The two became good friends, and some time after Alexis completed his class, they became even more.
Everything just came really naturally. He was helpful with college things, different things I needed or had questions about in school. And I just felt safe at first with him.
He decides that he's going to get a divorce, right?
Right.
He has been with his wife since he was 18 years old.
Correct.
He has 2 daughters. He's leaving his wife. Why? Because he loves you so much?
He said that I was the only woman he'd ever loved. Ever.
And did you believe him?
Yeah, I did.
In Eric, Alexis felt like she'd finally found the safety and stability she'd been craving. But Sergeant Eric Paull was hiding some dark secrets, the kind that escaped from the bottom of a bottle.
And how often was he drinking?
Daily. Eventually, I realized it was daily. He was a very functional alcoholic. We had text messages between us where he would say, you know, in my career, I'm rock solid. No one knows who I really am.
Before long, the once caring cop started exerting more and more control over his girlfriend's life.
He wanted to know all of my vulnerabilities. He wanted to know everything about my past, everything I was doing every day. He would text me between, I guess the average was 200 and 500 times a day.
200 and 500 times a day?
Yeah.
What else could he have been doing during that time?
And things only got more disturbing from there.
Our relationship was very up and down. It would be really great, and then he would get heavily intoxicated and then would maybe threaten to end my life or his own. I would say almost weekly at one point, he would told me if I tried to leave him, he was gonna kill himself.
Alexis felt trapped, but then, out of nowhere, Eric left her.
I was relieved when he ended it. And
You didn't feel sadness at the time?
maybe a
or-
little, but I think that my gut told me, you know, this is a good thing, this is a good thing.
It had been, what, 2 years?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half
At that point.
A year and a half of extreme dysfunction. Both Alexis and Eric seemed eager to move on. Eric began seeing someone else. And while Alexis wasn't so quick to trust again, she did eventually allow another man in.
September of 2014, I finally, I had met someone through church and we kind of began casually dating. And, you know,
Did you tell him?
Well, I got up the courage. I texted him when he texted me one day, I said, Eric, it's not appropriate anymore that you message me, I met someone. And he was not happy. About 2 a.m. that night, I wake up to what sounds like someone trying to smash in my bedroom window. It was him. He had ripped the screen out of my bedroom window and was trying to break in.
And that's when most people would have called the police. But Eric Paull was the police.
What happened after that?
He was texting me saying, I will not leave until you come out. I can wait here all night. And so I went outside, and he puts the gun to my head, and
So he put the gun to your head that night?
yes.
Did you think that you were going to die?
Everything inside of Alexis screamed, "Run away!" But mortal fear can be a powerful motivator.
He pointed the gun at himself and said, I can't live without you. You're the only woman I love. I need you. I broke up with my girlfriend today. I want to be with you.
Staring at the barrel of Eric's service weapon, Alexis felt she had no choice but to tell him they could work things out. Anything to get him to leave. But for the bad cop, there was still the matter of the other man she was dating.
The following day, he called me and he said that he had ran the background report on the guy. And he said, I will kill him and I will kill you. You need to stop talking to him. And so I did.
But if she thought that would make things better between her and Eric, she was dead wrong.
Thanksgiving 2014. What happens on that day?
The day started out okay. We went to my family house and he went to his family's house. And
You're still together at this point.
yeah, we're still together. And I get a phone call and he's like, hey, I want to come over and watch a movie or hang out. I said, okay. So I put my son to bed, and when he arrived, I realized he was pretty heavily intoxicated.
Alexis feels uneasy, but doesn't want to do anything to set him off.
After the movie was over, we were laying there, and he just started getting really violent, verbally aggressive, shouting, yelling, to an extreme that I had never seen. And I was immediately very, very, very afraid.
And she had every reason to be.
He began to get aggressive and yelling and pulling my hair, shoving me, and threw me down on the couch and put his hands around my neck and began to strangle me. I couldn't breathe. I was grasping at my neck, trying to get his hands off, and I couldn't.
And then, with her vision fading, this was the last thing Alexis says she could recall.
He flipped me over and pulled down my pants and just, started raping me. And that's the last thing I remember.
And yet somehow, it was just the beginning. Coming up,
When I woke up, I was still face down, and my son was at the bottom of the stairs crying. And Eric got off me and was like, go get your son, bitch.